Welcome back once again, Knicks fans. Wanted to drop a quick video about Obi Toppins. I know a lot of fans feel like we should try to trade Obi Toppin as quick as possible because Tom Thibodeau doesn't give him a lot of playing time, and everyone is afraid that his trade value is getting lower and lower, and so we should try to sell as high as we can because it's not going to get any better. And I'm actually making this video. I was actually one of the people that kind of felt, that sort of agree with that possibly, that we may have to move him. But I also feel like there's no need to rush in terms of making a decision on Obi Toppin. The reason why that is like, I don't think his value is as low as people think because the stats really doesn't bear that out. It's like when you look at Obi's advanced stats and even his regular statistics, he's one of the more efficient players on the team. Although he needs to play with a point guard, we don't have very good point guard play, but yet he's still able to put up efficient numbers. He shoots 52.4% from the field. He's averaging only 7.5, 8 points per game, but that's mostly because he doesn't get a lot of burn. His PER is 17.2. He has one of the higher PERs on our team. His PER is actually even higher than Julius Randle. His win shares is actually the same as Julius Randle's. And so what I'm saying is, I don't think we need to rush to try to get rid of Obi right away because I think the Knicks have at least, I think they have to make a decision on extending him, I think next year. And I think they should take as long as they need to take in order to make that decision. Because even if Obi Toppin continues to play only 10 minutes a game, I don't think his value is really going to be that diminished. Last year, he was getting less playing time. And he struggled. He didn't look very good last year. But this year, every time Obi Toppin steps a foot on the floor, he's doing something pretty spectacular. He's very fast. His pace, he plays like a very fast pace as well. You can just see it. He's just a very good ball player. And you can just see he actually has a pretty high ceiling. And also, he's really good. He's a very good decision maker. He doesn't really force things too much. And this is the reason why I think, making a decision or making a hasty decision on trading Obi Toppin this year may not be a very good idea. Like I said, if you look at his stats right now, it's actually pretty good. PER is 17.2, like I said, is one of the highest on the team. And the reason why it's so high is because he's extremely efficient from the field. Even the times when Tom Thibodeau actually played him, I think when Julius Randle was out, he actually, he had one game where he shot only 25%. He struggled in one game. And then there was another game where there was another game that he actually shot pretty well. I think it was against Toronto Raptors. So let's just take a quick, see if we can find that real quick. But if you look at all his games, he's pretty efficient and he's pretty consistent in his efficiency. He's not really up and down like a lot of the players on our team. So he's a pretty consistent basketball player. He consistently shoots above 50%. And then he may have like one game, he'll have like two good games, and then maybe have one bad game where he's not efficient from the field, and then he'll probably run off like maybe five good games, and then have one where he shoots like below 40%. So it's like he's really efficient. So if we go to this is around the time Julius Randle was out of the lineup, and if you see one game he got 21 and a half minutes. Actually, Julius was probably in the lineup for that game. He shot 60%, took only five shots. Then the next game, he only shot 20. He's played 27 minutes, only shot 25%. And then this is the game. I know this is the game that Julius Randle was out, and he played 45 minutes. That was a lot of minutes. The Knicks lost that game. They didn't lose that game because of Obi Toppin. And a lot of people said, oh, we lost that game. I think that's a game where we scored like maybe only 75 points or something like that. We struggled scoring the ball. Honestly, I don't think it was because we didn't have Julius Randle. Julius Randle really helps us with the rebounding. But on the offensive end, Julius Randle has really struggled this year, although he's starting to pick that up. But I guess the point I'm just trying to make is Obi Toppin, if you look actually at his stats, any GM that looks at his stats and look at basically a tape on Obi Toppin, it's very clear that Obi Toppin is actually, he's actually a very good player, and he actually has a very high ceiling. And because of that, I just don't think his trade value is as low as some Knicks fans think. I mean, like I said, you just got to go and look at his stats. You know, I mean, like I said again, he has one of the highest win shares on the team. We can even let me just actually pull this up, so we can look at a couple of PERs for a few of the players who are on the team. Alec Burks, when you look up his stats, Alec Burks, he's not very efficient. 39. I mean, he shoots very well from three, almost 40% from three, which is really good. But his PER is only 14.6. 15 is the average, and his win share is actually 3.4, which is one of the highest on the team. Interestingly enough, right? And then we go to Julius Randle. Julius Randle, his PER is 15.9, which actually has improved quite a lot over the past couple of, I want to say over the past couple of weeks. Is actually, because I think this was below 15. It might have been actually around 13.9 a couple of weeks ago. So this has improved. His win share is only 2.1. A lot of it is because his efficiency is so low. He's really struggling from the field. And so that's one of the reasons why. And so let's try to get through this quickly. Evan Fournier, we're not going to look at that. His like PER is also low. I think it's below average. It's 12.5. So we're not really going to worry too much about him. Emmanuel Quickly, same for him, 12.7. He's just not very efficient from the field this year. And then we go to Mitchell Robinson. Now this guy, Mitchell Robinson he's the stud on his team. He's actually, believe it or not, Mitchell Robinson is actually the best asset we have on the team. A lot of people don't realize it. And I think part of the problem too is because they limit exactly what he's allowed to do. Obviously, we saw the one game where he was able to cross a defender over, take it to the basket, and dunk the ball. So it kind of shows, and we've seen the videos of him playing with his high school buddies at the YMCA, trying to cross him up and all that stuff. So we can definitely see that Mitchell Robinson has a lot of talent, a lot to offer, but just needs a lot of work to bring it out. And so we don't know if this is the team for him, unfortunately. That's the thing that's really sad. If he stays with the Knicks, there's a good possibility he may not reach his full potential. But he is, in my opinion, he's probably our most valuable asset. Look at his PER and look at his win shares. The win shares is by far the highest on the team. The PER is by far the highest on the team as well. And then after that, Obi Toppin, we already looked at it. His PER is 17.2. Win share is 1.9. His win share matches Julius Randle. RJ Barrett, his efficiency is like really low. His PER is only 13. Win share is 1.1. And if you see the field goals, that tells the whole story there. Let's go down. We're not even going to look at Taj or Quentin Grimes. Their PERs are also really low as well. Kemba Walker, his is actually 15.9, 1.9. So his stats are actually similar to Julius Randle's. And so it gives you a lot to think about in terms of like how efficient, Julius Randle is versus how efficient Kemba Walker is as well. Derrick Rose, he has one of the higher PERs on the team, 17.7. Win shares is 1.5. He's just one of the better players we have on the team. And so look at the free throw, 96.8%. He hasn't played a lot this year, obviously. He's been down for a while. But he's obviously one of probably the Derrick Rose is the best player we have on the team. He's not the most valuable player because of his age, but he is the best player on the team. And so that's pretty much it. Cam Reddish, he's obviously he hasn't gotten a lot of minutes even with the Hawks. His efficiency numbers are really low. Free throw is really nice, 90%. PER is 13.3. So he's a very talented kid, so it'll be interesting to see. But I guess the whole point I'm just trying to make by going through everyone on the team is just so you guys can see that Obi Toppin I think he has a third highest PER on the team. So I think it's Mitchell Robinson, Derrick Rose, and then Obi Toppin. And so people shouldn't really be too, obviously the fact that he's not getting enough minutes is a problem and it does bring down his value. However, it doesn't mean that he doesn't, his value is really low. It's not as low as people think it is. And obviously the stats bear that out. I'm telling you right now, if they put Obi Toppins on the market, I think they can get something pretty good for it. But my hope, what I'm saying is, I don't think the Knicks should actually rush that. I think they should take their time with it. Obviously, you have Julius Randle has really struggled this year, and if I was the Knicks, I would not be trying to trade Obi Toppin right now. I would try to let these two guys ride it out and just make your decision next year because you want to see exactly what Randall can do if he can actually, if he's really the guy, right? And you want to see if you can continue with him because Randall actually, that's a contract I think you can move, especially if he can, if he the last couple of weeks he's been playing better. So if he continues to play better, his trade value will go up, and then people might just say, "Oh, he just sort of had a bet down year. He's a great playmaker, good passer. Maybe he was just in the wrong situation this year." And you might have some teams that are going to be willing to go for Julius to basically take take that Julius Randle trade. I'm not saying trade Julius Randle. I'm not saying that's what that's what's going to happen. However, all I'm just trying to say is because Obi Toppin doesn't have to be extended to like I guess his next year or something like that, the Knicks should just take their time with it. There's no reason to rush to trade this guy because you think the value is dropping. His value is not really dropping. I don't think it's dropping as much as people think. People think it's really dropping. That a lot of fans think it's dropping because he's not playing very much, and it does have an impact on his value. But if you look at his stats, just his efficiency numbers are absurdly high. So it's and so that's why I think it's I don't I think they should take their time with it and be patient. And so that's what I have. Let me know what you guys think about this Obi Toppin discussion, and also let me know what you guys think as far as developing Obi Toppin. It definitely feels like there's Tom Thibodeau, in my opinion, feels like it's starting to get a little personal where he just doesn't like Obi Toppin. That's just what I think. What I'm sort of picking up from the little bit I see. And even with the comments he made about like everyone liking the backup quarterback and all that stuff, I mean, you shouldn't make certain comments about your players trying to like, you know, uh, devalue one player over another because you're feeling pressure. He should have handled that a lot better and made a better statement about Obi Toppin. But you can tell it's there's something going on there. And if Obi Toppin is traded, I really think it's going to be Obi Toppin requesting a trade because of the relationship with Tom Thibodeau and Tom Thibodeau unwillingness to actually be patient or even to give him a chance. And the other thing about Obi Toppin, actually, I wanted to go over the. I wanted to really look at his the stats, basically his defensive stats, and this is basically the opponent field goal percentage by player for the New York Knicks. And if you look here, okay, this this kind of sucks right now, but let me find a place to put this. So if you see here, this is basically opponent field goal percentage, and it's by player. These are the list of the players in the New York Knicks, and this is basically by distance, right? So less than 5 feet at the rim, 5 to 9 feet, 10 to 14 feet, 15 to 19, 20 to 24 feet, 25 to 29 feet. But most of the shots normally come within 5 feet, right? That's where most NBA players, everyone wants to get to the cup because that's the easiest shot to make, right? And so, and and that's usually the hardest shot to defend. But if you look up and down to basically for 5 feet or less to the guys that are getting strong minutes on the Knicks team or guys that are in a rotation, it's very. If you look, it's like it's uh, this because the league average for people shooting within the league average for people shooting within 5 feet is like 64.5% or something like that. So it's almost 65%, somewhere around 64 point something, right? And so anything actually below 64 means that you're doing a better job than the rest of the league at defending your man in basically in the paint. And so if you look up and down, Alec Burks is at 60.9, which is pretty okay. That's below league average. And it kind of, he's been doing a good job, on a defensive end. We noticed that this year. Derrick Rose, I think he's like the best on it, one of the best on the team. He's at 55.3. And so, and so basically he's really good. Evan Fournier 61.8, still below league average. So he's not as terrible as we felt we were feeling. Emmanuel Quickly 57, which is really good as well. Jericho Sims 57, but he doesn't get a lot of minutes, and so the attempts from when he's in the game is usually pretty low. He doesn't so. Julius Randle 60.6, which is pretty decent given obviously the amount of minutes that he logs. So we actually have some guys that are pretty decent defending at the rim, right? Kevin Knox is one of the worst. He was at 65, and of course we knew. That's why they ended up getting rid of him. A lot of these guys that are 100%, these are people that I don't even know. I don't remember them ever playing. Miles McBride, 52.6, but we all knew that, but he barely plays. And so Mitchell Robinson, 63.5. Now, Mitchell Robinson, he's actually, it's really interesting, right? I've always, although I think he's the most valuable asset we have, I think it's because his ability to rebound on the offensive end, also his ability to cover up a lot of mistakes on the defensive end. But if you look at this opponent's shooting percentage in the paint is not that great, and you notice it sometimes. I know we like to make a lot of excuses for him, in terms of because he's cleaning up a lot of mess and like a lot of times, and it's true. When people get beat to the basket, he needs to come up to try to defend the shot, and then his man is wide open for either for the putback or for the dunk, and so that's why this is a little higher than it should be. So I get it. Obi Toppin, which is the one I really wanted to look at, he's at 59.6, which is actually pretty decent, right? The league average, like I said, within this range is 64, around 64.5 or so. And so he's actually well below the league average. And so he does a decent job. This is just to show, like, if you look at his individual defensive stats, he actually does a pretty good job, especially defending in the paint. And we all see it. We all can see it. And then also in the paint, like I think this is 5 to 9 feet or something like that. This is actually a little above league average, but it's not too terrible. It's like 3 percentage points higher than league average. This here is actually now mid range is where he struggles a lot, and this is where he needs to work on because although he doesn't get a lot of people trying to take mid range shots on him, but you do notice a lot when he gets somebody in the mid range. Sometimes he gets really scared and hesitant, and so he tends to give people way too much space in the mid range, and also um, basically in the mid range from like mid range around 15 feet up to about 24 feet. And then deep out 3 point range, he actually does a pretty good job on his man closing out, and so he does a good job there. But overall, just trying to say, Obi Toppin is actually a lot better defender than we all thought he was going to be, and so and also just to show that the numbers do back it up as well. So this is why I just think they should just really take it easy with Obi Toppin in terms of like the whole trade talk. Hopefully they're not planning to trade him, and I really think they should take their time with it, and just kind of see how things play out. You don't want to rush it. It's always good to just be patient with all this stuff. Anyway, this actually ran much longer than I thought it was going to run. But let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know what you think about the relationship Obi Toppin has with the coach Thibodeau. Let me know if you guys think they should basically be more patient. And is Thibodeau the right coach? Obviously, I don't think he's the right coach for Obi Toppin. It seems like it's gotten personal. But let me know what you guys think about it. All right, please like, subscribe, comment below. I'll be more than happy to respond. Have a good day.